If you've looked at a house in Madera Ranchos and thought, okay, the price says 380,000. I think I can do this. I want to walk you through what that number actually turns into, because the sticker price is not the real price, not even close. Here's the thing nobody explains. 380,000 is the price of the house. It's not the amount of the cash you need, and it's not your monthly payment either. Those are completely different numbers, and people walk into this confusing all three of them. Let's break it down with real math using a $380,000 house, which is close to what you'll find right now in a lot of ranchos. First, your down payment. If you go to FHA at 3.5%, that's about 13,300. If you go conventional at 5%, you're looking at 19,000. That's the first chunk. Second, the closing costs. These are separate from your down payment. And people forget this constantly. Closing costs usually run 2 to 3% from the purchase price. On a $380,000 house, that's somewhere between $7,600 and $11,400. That covers the lender fees, appraisal, title, insurance, escrow, all the behind the scenes stuff that makes the sale legally happen. So just to get to the table, down payment plus closing costs, you're realistically looking at 20,000 to 30,000 in cash, depending on your loan type. That's the real entry number, not 380,000. Now, the monthly payment. This is where you get surprised in the other direction. Sometimes it's better than they think, sometimes worse, because they forget pieces. On a $380,000 house with a 5% down, you're financing around $361,000. At today's rates, your principal and interest lands close to $2,400 a month. But that's not your full payment. At property tax in California, that's roughly 1.1% of the home value annually. So on this house, that's about $350 a month. At homeowner insurance, call it 120 to 150 a month out here. If there's an HOA, and some parts of ranchos do have them, add another $50 to $100. So your real monthly number is closer to 2,900 to 3,000, not 2,400. That gap, that 500 to 600, is exactly where people get blindsided after closing. Here's the psychology of it, and I see this constantly. People do the math on the loan, principal, interest, because that's the number the listing or the calculator gives them upfront. It feels manageable. It feels like the finish line. Then they get to escrow, and suddenly there's a list of fees they didn't budget for. And it's not that the fees are hidden or shady. It's that nobody walked them through it before they got emotionally attached to the house. By the time you're filling out paperwork, you're already picturing your furniture in the living room. That's a bad time to find out you're 8,000 short on cash to close. That number needs to be real before you fall in love with the house, not after. I'll be honest with you about where I'm coming from on this. I work a labor job up before sunrise out in the fields, and that job comes with one major advantage. It covers my housing. Free housing means my monthly expenses are low, which means I can actually save towards something real instead of just covering rent every month. That's the strategy for me right now. Keep the overhead low, stack the down payment, and when the numbers make sense, move on and investment property. I'm not saying everyone has this setup, but everyone has some version of a low overhead window, even if it's temporary. That question is whether you're using it or just living in it. So here's the move. Before you fall in love with a listing, get pre-approved and ask your lender for a full breakdown. Not just the loan amount, the phone number, down payment, closing cost, and real monthly payment with tax insurance, HOA if there is one. That's the number that matters. Write it down. Compare it to what you're paying in rent right now. Sometimes it's closer than you think. Sometimes it's further. Either way, you want to know that before you're standing in a kitchen picturing your life there. If you want me to run these numbers for a specific property out there, Madera Ranchos or anywhere in Central LA, that's literally what I do.